Let's take your deathcore screams from this to this. Today we're taking a look at Dan Watson's own cover of his own song ntcrusher by Infant Annihilator and see what we can learn from this absolute deathcore legend. Let's check this out. Okay. So we're starting out with strong fry highs. I'd say in terms of register, this is right in the middle, not too high, not too low. And you can hear a lot of power behind these screams. So this isn't at a comfort breathing level, but there's a lot of force in his breath. Now when, for example, a beginner tries to breathe this strongly, it means that they don't just tense up in the belly, but everywhere, especially in the larynx. And this isn't the case here. So we definitely got a well-trained, optimized high technique on our hands with just the right amount of compression to give him the distortion that he wants. Enunciation-wise, there's a lot of es and as going on, as per usual with these sort of highs, and he's also doing a lot of double vowels, where he puts 2 vowels instead of 1 into his words. One of the most dire traps that a beginner can fall into when exercising these sort of screams is to work against yourself. You strain for the distortion, but your compression isn't precise enough, thereby pulling downwards your vocal resonance as well as your pitch. You notice this and you're like, oh man, I'm still not high enough, let's strain some more. Whenever I notice this happening with one of my students, I encourage them to take things very slowly so that their bodies can get accustomed to the right levels of tension inside of the throat while leaving their voice relaxed. Some people need to work a lot on their body sensitivity to get this right. And if you struggle with getting your vocal tech up to speed or just want to streamline your learning process, I got you. With our personalized coaching program at Scream On, we can help you unleash your full vocal potential and make you sound like a demon in no time. Let's continue with the analysis. Okay. Now we're at upper tongue tunnels. This is a technique that requires a specific posture in the tongue to create a back and forth resonance between the soft palate and the surface of the tongue. Like a seal, or and then you do a low with this tongue posture. This whole tongue posture thing has some crazy implications for your enunciation, and it will take you a while to get accustomed to enunciating clearly while always flicking the tongue back upwards into the position for the vowels. It can sound like this, or it can sound like this. In the lines tied together, he does more of a slam style squeal that is mainly achieved by raising your larynx, like this. This elevates the base of the tongue up so high that you can get a resonance fluctuation in the backside of your throat between tongue and soft palate at a spot where you normally wouldn't get it. The tongue is just too low for it. So we elevate it like Let's continue. Okay. from here onwards, you can really hear how Dan's enunciation had changed over the years. If you listen back to the T-plop version of this song, you will notice how muffled he sounded, which can be attributed to two things. First, Dan told me that this was merely recorded with an SM58, and I think it was cupped. For comparison, this looks like an SM7B with a SOC as a secondary pop filter. And the second reason, which is the main reason in my opinion, is the mouth movement. To me, the original sounded as if he tried to move his mouth and tongue as little as possible when delivering these lines. When I learned the upper tongue tunnel technique, I tried to do it the same way, because I noticed that the more static I held my tongue, the better I was able to maintain the distortion. Now, the more you learn about this technique and the more efficient you get your scream to be, the more you will learn how to make the distortion happen internally. You learn how to compress into the distortion well enough so that you don't rely on the tongue for the distortion to happen. And once you're at that point, you can move your mouth more freely while maintaining the right level of distortion, which is exactly what we're seeing with Dan here. He enunciates these lines very clearly.
Surviving demons are loaded onto transport with access to
Let's talk about his face for a moment. In this high passage, you could see his brows got up, and he looked a bit more desperate. This is something I got a lot when listening to the first IA album for the first time. This dude gets a lot of desperation from his face. And to be honest, just from a corporate band standpoint, this isn't exactly the most beautiful face to make when you're doing a vocal playthrough, but you just have to give it to him for staying true to his craft. This is how he looks when he screams, and he does not give a fuck. Very cool, very cool. Let's continue. Okay, let's talk a bit about that. You see, this is exactly what I meant when I said that you have to get comfortable with moving your tongue very fast. What he does here, instead of going back into the upper tongue tunnel position, is he's like, okay, let's do the same thing at the same pace, but into a more squealy position instead. Let's listen a bit more. this pick squeal section here is a good opportunity to talk about Dan's distortion style. What he usually does is like 80% fry and 20% false chord. The reason I think this is because his resonance is usually a bit too slow to be pure fry. It's also a very sensible thing to do because if you add a little bit of false chords to your fries, it usually makes you sound more beefy. So for this line, instead of doing it like a pure fry,
On the flag of the streets,
he's doing it with a false chord, like
on the flag of the streets.
and I think with the slower distortion this sounds a bit more disgusting overall, so good job Dan on balancing that one out. And I think that concludes the analysis for today. I hope you had a lot of fun listening to this OG deathcore gem again. Please leave a like and subscribe, and also subscribe to my socials, it would mean the world to me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Until next time.